So, one, we want to thank everybody for tuning in. We thank our special guests. We have Kelvin Wisenhunt, retired major in the Army, also my classmate. We have Jerry Hairston, um, LA Dodgers broadcaster, and he was on the Yankees team. Well, they were on his team, Alex Rodriguez and Derek Jeter. And then we have Mr. Walter Ray Allen, Ray Allen's dad, to give us. These gentlemen are going to give us some perspective uh, on the topic that happened the other day, and it's kind of like it's on fire all over social media, where people are talking about what happened between LeBron and Stephen A. And for me, um, anything that I say about LeBron to LeBron fans come across as hate. But when it comes to sports, and Jerry knows, me and Jerry been going back and forth with sports for years. He'll text me something, I'll go check it out. I'll text him something, he'll go check it out. And the thing about uh, when I talk to Jerry, or when I talk to even Walt about sports, we're able to set aside our biases because we played the game, because we love the game, and regardless of how we feel about a particular player or a team, we're able to have a conversation without our feelings getting involved. And that's what I love about picking Jerry and Walt's brain. Uh, so, oh, not to mention, Walt played professional basketball as well. Me and Walt was stationed together at Shaw Air Force Base in Sumter, South Carolina. That's how I met him and his beautiful family, and they became my family when I was away from my family, him and his wife and his kids. So they are literally family. Not like family, they are family. And so I just wanted to make the quick introductions. I know Jerry Harrison is under time constraints because the Dodgers is doing what the Dodgers do around this time of the year. But let's go ahead and dive right in. I posted something the other day because I felt a certain way about how LeBron um, had basically uh, called out Stephen A. at a Lakers game, with Stephen A. sitting on the front row. I thought it was kind of callous. I thought it showed, for me, I didn't think it showed class, because regardless of what the conversation was about, we all know there's a time and place for everything. And I don't think that at the end of a Lakers game, how star studded that is, that was the time to do that. So I am going to dive right in, and I'm not asking these gentlemen to side with me. I'm just asking their perspective. I will pose some questions to them based on their background and relationships to either sports or leadership. Jerry, when you saw that clip, what was your initial reaction?
Well, ironically, I was at the game. I was at the game with my son Jackson, the 19-year-old freshman in college in Southern California. Even though I was at the game, I didn't see that event happen in real time. After the game, we got back home. Obviously, it went viral, so we saw it on social media. And when I saw it on social media, I just assumed LeBron and Stephen A. were having a chat about the GOAT debate. Maybe LeBron was upset of how um, Stephen A. would talk about him on the GOAT debate and vice versa. That's what I thought it was about. So I even tweeted out at that time at night, hey, this is what men should do. If they have a difference of opinion, hash it out, man to man. Wake up the next morning. I found out through Stephen A. that LeBron approached Stephen A. about his son, Bronny. And then I felt a little different because Bronny is no longer a high school kid. Bronny is no longer a college kid. He is now an NBA player. And once you're an NBA player, a Major League Baseball player, NFL player, NHL, a pro athlete, now you're going to be subject to criticism. That's just the nature of the beast. That what goes along with being a professional athlete. So you get praise, you get tons of money when you perform well. When you don't perform well, there's going to be scrutiny. There's going to be criticism that goes along with that. And the thing about it is, LeBron knows this. He understands this. So that was to me. Now, listen, I'm trying to give LeBron the benefit of the doubt. It happened in real time. It's during the game. He saw Stephen A. and he just snapped. And he went right and made a beeline for Stephen A. So I listen. He got emotional. Him being a father, I'm sure now that he probably regrets how it all went down. So I'm going to give the benefit of the doubt to Braun on how he handled it because he's a father in real time. Boom, he just saw Stephen A. and he just snapped. He saw it. Obviously, there were no punches thrown. It wasn't that heated. He just said what he had to say and left it at that. So, but LeBron knows him being a guy who came into the NBA out of high school with heavy scrutiny. He knows once you get to become a pro athlete, there's going to be scrutiny. That's what comes with the territory. So um, it's unfortunate it took place. And the one other thing too is I was the son of a Major League Baseball. My father, Jerry Harrison Sr., I'm Junior, played in the big leagues for a lot of years. My grandfather played in the Negro Leagues, played in the big leagues as well. That just comes to the territory. We have that understanding. You want to play pro sports, you better be able to take the good with the bad. And the last thing I will say, I think this hurts Bronny more than anybody because as the son, you're like feeling daddy is kind of protecting me a little bit. I know if that was my dad doing that, if I was a big leaguer, I'd be upset. I don't want my dad fighting my battles. I'm in the big leagues. So I just think, listen, I'm trying to give LeBron the benefit of the doubt, but it's unfortunate it took place.
I it was my sentiments exactly, and like I said, I prefaced this when I posted it the other day. I'm not a fan of Stephen A. I'll just keep it a buck. I'm not a fan of Stephen A. because for me, I felt I feel that he has taken a lot of money out of the pockets of athletes that look like him by the things that he said, the narratives he's written. Um, they by no means do we expect him to be an advocate for us, but we don't expect him to be in conflict with people that look like him. And we all understand that he has a job. He's in the media. He has a job. Now he's making a ton of money. Um, but we expect that when we get people that look like us put in positions like that they will represent us in the right way. And so for me, I don't think Stephen Smith has represented the black community in the right way because um, he has backhanded compliments. He will preface something with a compliment just to, and I used the analogy to Walt earlier. Uh, he puts cologne on shit. He'll give you a compliment, and that's just to make himself feel good about what's coming in the next group of words, and he's become known for that. So there is a lot of friction between him and a lot of athletes. Um, Walt, I want to get your perspective. I mean, you Walt, pull your camera down some. All we see is your yeah. Push it down some. Down. Can you push it down? There we go. Right there, Walt. A little up a little bit. Right there. Right there. Right there. Right there. Right there. If Walter Ray Allen Sr. looks familiar, he's Ray Allen's dad. And I felt like between him and Jerry, um, they're they're like family, and for this particular topic, I felt like they were some of the best suited people that I know to give their input on this subject, being that they have children that is in sports. Jerry's son is well on his way to possibly be in the big leagues. We're gonna speak that into existence. Well on his way to be in the big leagues. He comes from a big league family, his father and his father before him, his brother played in the league around the same time that he did, and so then Walter Ray Allen Sr., we who we call him Walt, has had a storied career himself in the game of basketball. Walter was the first person that I ever seen that could shoot with his left or right and be as consistent with either or. I don't mean like 5 to 10 feet, 10 footers. I mean like 3 point line. Like and matter of fact, I don't think I've ever seen anybody since him that can consistently do that. And so I'm not surprised at at how talented his kids is. You know, even when it comes to Miss Allen, they come from a athletic family. His Ray's parents have achieved some of the highest goals when it comes to sports, and so that's why his input was so important for me on this. Walt, I know we had a conversation earlier about what happened between LeBron and Stephen A. But I'd like to get your perspective um, as a parent of one of the um, best basketball players to ever play the game of basketball. Um, what say you when it comes to this particular subject?
Well, with me, I see it. When I first heard about it, I I didn't really see it. I had to go back, on YouTube and look at it to see what really happened. And actually, like you say, he was sitting there at a timeout and jumped up and just confronted Stephen A. And like any other parent, would do as a parent. As a ball player, you take for instance, you got a couple like Alonzo Ball. Remember Ball and his three sons? Now he was all pushing his kids, saying they the best ever. They can do this and do that. That what a parent's supposed to do about it. But he pushed it a little too far. And then you look at Deion Sanders and his two boys. Same thing. Whenever you gonna have kids, and then you just like my Ray. Ray got a son in college, and when he went to Rhode Island first, I went all the way down to watch him play in Charleston, getting beat by 20 points. The coach never put him in, and I'm like, why do you don't put the players? If you're getting blown up, put the bench in. He never did. I asked my grandson about it. He said, "Dad," he said, "Papa, that what he do. Uh, uh, he want to make sure the other teammates get I guess we would say blamed for it. But still, back to LeBron, any father gonna confront somebody, but you looking at a situation where you got a NBA father with a NBA son, and he trying to get him in. I guess he wanted to play with his son when he was coming up, as he was coming up. That's why he stayed so long in the NBA. But then other fathers would have, got out and supported their kids, behind the scenes. But this wasn't behind the scenes.
Uh-huh. So do you agree? Do you agree with what he did? And if you do agree with it, do you also agree in how he did it?
Well, you can look at different situations, and I guess LeBron looked at it as that was a perfect opportunity. He see him live, because you know power players they on the road all the time. They don't get to see certain people, but he happened to be on the front row, and he got blasted.
Uh-huh. So you think that it was okay what he did when he did it and how he did it?
Social media always hype things up. And if it wasn't ever like, social media picking things up, like introducing it to the public, it would have never came back. I heard about it, but I didn't think it was. I didn't know that he did it right at the time at a game. That's
Yeah.
one thing now, because I heard, but at a game, it's just the fact that it was just one of them days.
Yeah. So, all right, let me play devil's advocate. You are playing on a team with Ray, and this same situation happens. How do you handle it?
I'm gonna step in with my son. I'm not gonna let nobody just beat him down, just ridicule him. I'm gonna have to,
Uh,
say something too. At a tender age of 19, 20, 20, the kids are young. They don't be looking. They just out there, want to play ball, this and that. You got like LeBron when he came in at 18, and Kobe, all them, they were good ball players. And Bronny, to me, he's a good ball player, but I think he should have did, at least 2 years, 2 to 3 years in college.
yeah, I definitely agree with you on that. Um, my stance is probably that of mostly of Jerry's, but I could see where uh, your stance could come into play as well. But even taking your stance, for me, at a Lakers game, at the end of a game, and so public like that, would not have been the place that I would have done it. I would have, and if I would have done it, I would have came at Stephen A. Just like you said. I'm like, look, man, he's 18 years old. You 19 years old. You beating him down in the media is not gonna help his confidence. Like I would have came to him and sit. I would have talked to him man
in
to man.
private. In
Yeah,
private.
man to man in private as a father and say, hey,
But, but that's
go
why I
ahead.
said what I said with LeBron. That's why I kind of, in defending LeBron, and just like what Mr. Allen is saying, he saw Stephen A. pry at the corner of his eye, and he just snapped. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to go talk to him right now. I
Right?
don't think it was premeditated. So I think it just happened, and he just reacted.
It was
So that's why
opportune
that's why I was
time.
defending LeBron, because I don't think he anticipated seeing Stephen A. Because Stephen A. is in New York a lot doing First Take in his show, right?
Right?
Uh huh.
So I think LeBron just saw Stephen A. On the front row. It's like, oh, I'm gonna go talk to him right now. He just snapped. That's why I was like defending LeBron. I think
Yeah.
probably after the season, if he didn't see Stephen A., he would have probably called him, figure out a way to talk to him. But I think it was in the heat of the moment. He just saw him. He saw red, and he just snapped.
Bro, you know what? I would probably roll with that if it was anybody but LeBron, but LeBron is a stage guy. He likes the big stage. He likes doing everything grandioso. So I don't think LeBron would have pulled him off to the side and had a conversation because that's not LeBron esque. He likes the attention. He likes the spotlight on him, and I think that is kind of what led to this. Is that because he likes the spotlight on him, he put it on his son. And like you said, Jerry, is like when you get into the league, and we can go down the list. We could talk about Kwame Brown. We could talk about Harold Miner, who they was talented at him being the next Michael Jordan. We can go to
Yep.
Greg Oden, and we could just keep going down the list of these 18, 19-year olds that come into this league, and we have as fans, as other athletes, as club owners, we have this expectation of them, especially when they're drafted in the first round or they're drafted number one, um, to at least live up to some of the hype that got them to that point. And like I told Jerry, I told Walt, you can go back in history, man. We have a history of roasting them cats when they don't, meet expectations.
Well,
Of
but here's the difference. Bronny didn't have any hype because
Yeah,
Bronny wasn't. If you look at his high school numbers and I'm in Southern California. You know, he wasn't like can't miss. He wasn't averaging 35 points a game in high school. You know what I'm
No.
saying? He wasn't lighting up. And then obviously in college, he was the backup. I think he averaged 4 points a game
Or,
in college.
or,
So he didn't have that hype. You know, so
Yeah.
obviously, I mean, let's be real. I mean, I think Bronny is very athletic. You know what I'm saying? And I think maybe in 2 or 3, maybe 4 years, he can become a really good NBA player, or at least a serviceable NBA player. Was he
Yeah.
rushed to the NBA? Of course, he was rushed to the NBA. Everybody knows that because LeBron wanted to play with his son. They try to compare it to Griffey and his dad, senior. It's nothing like that.
Oh no,
So
that's
Ken Griffey
two
Jr. was
totally
a
ends of the
phenom.
spectrum.
Ken Griffey Jr. was a phenom, and he made it to the big leagues. He was the first pick of the draft. He got to the big leagues in a year on his own accord because he was an unbelievable player. It was his team, and then his dad came over to his team. You know what I'm saying? To Junior's team, and that's how they play together. So Senior didn't force a team to draft Junior. You know what I'm saying? Uh,
Yeah.
Ken Griffey Jr. was a phenom, and then his dad played with him. You know, as
Yeah.
opposed to
The other way around.
LeBron, obviously orchestrating to have his son. You can take whatever view you want, right or wrong. That's what LeBron did to get Bronny on the team.
Yeah.
So, but either way, you're going to have scrutiny. I look. You could be LeBron, you could be Bronny, you could be Ken Griffey Jr., you could be Barry Bonds, you could be any athlete. Once you are a professional athlete, you're a professional athlete.
The glove. Yeah. The
So
gloves
you
come
take
off.
the praise and then you take the bad. I've been heavily scrutinized when I was playing bad. Fans let me have it. Guess what? This is what I signed up for. That comes
Yeah.
with the territory. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it is what it is.
Kelvin.
another
Oh, go
thing
ahead.
I
Go
look
ahead.
at it as the sport reporter, when they be rating certain players, from high school, and that's a big hype there. When they get pushed up further than what they should be, just because either the parent or either even if they're doing good, and because there's been a lot of players that was ranked in the top 10, and what they do, they flop.
Yep.
Yeah.
You but being a family man, LeBron a family man, him, the kids, all of them is family, and you can't break that bond.
Well, well, I feel this is you are not my dad if we're both in the NBA on the team together. You are my coworker. You are my teammate. You are not my dad. That kind of relationship cannot exist. That does not work. Uh, a father and son relationship in a father and son light. You are my teammate. You are my coworker. When we leave this arena, you're dad. But while we're at work, that's no different if it was a 9 to 5.
It's
You
still dead.
you're not about to be on a 9 to 5 and running around employees. Hey dad, uh can hey dad, what about this? Dad, can I know you told so
I,
and
I,
so.
I will I will say this. I'm going to agree with Walt here because you're still dad. No matter what. Now I
Yeah,
understand
yeah,
what you're
yeah.
saying. As the son, as the son, for
Respect.
me, I don't want my daddy fighting my battles for me
Yes,
as a
that's
grown
in
man.
essence what I was trying to say.
Yeah, I don't want my daddy there. So that's what I kind of feel for Bronny a little bit. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah.
But at the flip side, you can't tell LeBron, "Hey, don't be a dad." I'm a dad. I understand what LeBron's feeling. I understand. That's
I
why
know
I
it's
understand
hard,
why
but you
LeBron
have
snaps.
to.
I know, but
It's
I'm just
hard.
saying, you can't listen. Listen.
You can't
You
take that
can't tell a
natural instinct
dad,
away from any
hey,
man.
turn it on and off. You just can't.
Yeah.
But here's the deal. Here's the deal. You got to, even though you want to be dad, because I understand where LeBron's coming from. You want to protect your family. I agree. But you got to understand. You got to take a step back. Even though I want to do this is going to put more pressure on my son, and it might emasculate my son.
Yeah.
Right? I don't want to emasculate my son. I got to let my son be his own man. I have to. You know what I'm saying? So it's just tough, man. Like I said, I don't think it was premeditated. I think LeBron just saw Stephen A. and he saw red, and he just made a. Before he knew it, he was yelling at Stephen A. That's what I think happened.
Exactly.
Well, the thing about it is, yes, it was Stephen A. But bro, we can close our eyes and click on any form of social media, and there's people all over social media bashing Bronny. Like
Yeah,
it wasn't just Stephen
but
A. Like,
they're not
But
face to
that's
face.
what
That's
comes with it.
what happened.
huh? Well,
Like you got to be able to take the good with the bad. I mean,
yep,
if LeBron, I guess LeBron tweeted out that Bronny was better than half the NBA guys when he was in high
yeah,
school. Okay,
yeah,
so if you're gonna tweet that out, right, then that was LeBron praising his son. That was LeBron being a dad. That was, all he was doing. LeBron was trying to give his son confidence and just put his son out there. Okay, so
but you put
LeBron
a
was being a
target
dad.
on his
I
back.
know the feeling. I like I said, I know where LeBron's coming from. Okay, but if you do that, then you can't be mad when it's the other way when your son is getting criticized. If I'm
Yeah.
hitting a buck twenty
If you're
five,
gonna give it,
right,
you got to be able to
and
take
I'm
it.
struggling, if I'm hitting a
Yep.
buck 25 and I'm struggling in the big leagues, guess what's going to happen? I'm going to get worn out by the media. I'm going to be saying that I'm trash. And what am I going to say? I'm hitting a buck 25. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? So that's just the nature of the beast. You better be able to be respectable, right?
and
So you
Yeah.
got to be
that's
able
why
to take the
they
good
got,
with the bad.
like you said, that's why they got the minor league that put you right back down,
Yep. And the G League.
right
Exactly.
back down, just like the D League.
Exactly.
Now Brony been back and forth to the D League also. Now.
Yeah. No, he
So
shouldn't go back and forth. He should just stay there.
it's that you right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
To help his game. Kelvin, um,
Yes,
you
sir.
you have listened to these athletes and these parents of athletes. I have Kelvin on here because he is a leader of men um, in one of the biggest teams that we have, and that's the military. And he has led a lot of men, a lot of boys, a lot of women. What say you about this from a dad? He also has a son that's in the military as well. As a dad, as a leader of men and women, what say you about this situation, Kelvin?
So I'm gonna go out and say that you can't take that natural instinct away from any parent. If somebody says something about my kid, my response is to go after them.
Mhm.
But there's a time and a place for everything. And teaching my child to be an advocate doesn't start when they become a professional. My son being in the military, when he has an issue with his commanders, I don't stand in as an officer that's been around for a while and may even know his commander's commander and reach out to them and say, hey, I need you to go fix this for my son. I teach my son how to stand up for himself and go fix that problem. Do I think LeBron may have just turned over there and at the heat of the moment said, I'm going to go talk to him and squash this right now? Of course. That's what any father would do for their kid. But at some point you gotta learn to step back. Right. And so that whole coming out and just losing your whole demeanor in front of the world on national television because granted, like you said, LeBron like to do things big. There ain't nobody out here that likes to do things bigger than Stephen A. He's big, he's loud, he's rambunctious,
yeah.
and LeBron knows that, right? So he's gonna go at him that way. And
Yeah,
for
that's
Bronny, I
two of
feel
the
bad for
same
him.
people.
Yeah,
That's
I
right.
feel for Bronny, I feel bad because he's embarrassed, right? He's like, dang, my dad out here, like some babe on the street gonna meet Bronny and be like, man, your dad taking up for you, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And all the boys on the brothers on the team.
Uh,
Yeah.
So, but and I'm gonna go back to the other part too, though. When we talk about getting your kids a job, would I advocate to get my kid the best job? Hell yeah, every day. If I'm Bronny, if I'm Ball, I'm any of them. I'm doing everything I can to get my child the best job they can, get them the best leg up because I have the inside track. I'm gonna do that
Right.
every time, and every father would. I don't
But
know
the key
anybody that
is,
wouldn't.
but the key is, are you going to advocate to get your kid a job that he's not prepared to do, knowing that if you get him in there, not only is it going to look bad on you if he doesn't have the ability to do the job, it's going to kill his confidence as far as him ever probably being able to do the job. And so when I did this on social media, I actually tagged both of my sons and I said, "Hey, I said, how do you guys feel about this? And do you think that how do you think I would have handled this?" And my both of my sons were really good Texas football players. Like in during their time, they were really good. Like to the point to where had circumstances been different, educational wise, they could have went to any school in the country. Like that good. And they'll tell you, I sit both of them down because I had one of the reasons why is because I had a relationship with Ray Allen, and I had relationships with a ton of other athletes and people in the entertainment industry that I've sit down and had conversations with them about what it's like, and I listened. And so when it came time for my kids to be in that position, I said, "Look, let me let you know what comes with this. Yeah, you might be able to go out here and throw the ball 60 yards. You may be one of the best defensive linemen in the state of Texas. But that's a small part of going to the next level. Yeah, that will get you in the door. That will open the door for you. But the scrutiny and the criticism that is going to come with that, if you're not ready to mentally handle that, all the other stuff ain't gonna matter. It's not gonna
And
matter
I agree with
because
you.
you can be
I,
mentally strong and gain all the other stuff, but you cannot be physically strong and not be mentally strong and think that you're gonna make it. Go ahead, Kevin.
and just like I was saying about getting your child a job, right? So we're all professionals here, right? So
Yeah.
whether it's in sports or any other world, my wife's a surgeon. I got a PhD. We expect our children to be excellent at all points. We're
Yeah.
gonna push them hard, and we expect them to climb, right? We expect them to
Support.
go to the top of the ladder. But we, yes, like you said, we're gonna give them that support when they need it. But
Hmm.
Right.
and I'm not gonna go to my child's university and say, "Hey, professor, why'd you give him a B?" I'm gonna say, "You got a B. You either need to work harder, or you need to go find out from your professor what you need to get that A, because you're not gonna be able to get into grad school. You're not gonna be able to get into medical school with those grades."
Right.
And at some point, that kid's gonna have to learn at a point where they have to take responsibility for those decisions that they make.
Exactly.
Bronny's a good
And
player. He's a good basketball player, but is he a great basketball player like his father? Of course not. We all know that. We know that that LeBron advocated for him to come be in the league so he can play together and break the record, right? I mean, be the only dad and son to play on this.
yeah,
But who
yeah,
wouldn't?
we
Who wouldn't do it?
I can
well,
honestly
well,
say
I
I
would. I
wouldn't.
will say this. I will say this. So I got friends in the sports industry, Major League Baseball. I played for a lot of years. We have a pretty stringent minor league system. You get drafted, you go to A ball. Most of the time, you go to rookie ball. Usually, you go to A ball, then Double A, Triple A, then you get to the big leagues. Okay, so to kind of answer that, I would never put my son in a position where he's going to get embarrassed. I couldn't do that. Even let's say if I was playing and I want to play with my son in the big leagues, we could be teammates. As much as I love that, this is me personally. This is just me from my point of view. I never want to put my son in a position where he would be embarrassed. Because when you're not ready for the big leagues, the show will embarrass you. That's why we take time to develop our young players to make sure they are ready to go. So once they get to the big leagues, they are polished. They're ready to go. So it's obvious that
I agree with him
Bronny
100% on that.
is not a
100%.
finished product. Statistically, he's not very good right now. That doesn't mean he's not going to be good in years from now. But I think that's why Stephen A. and other analysts have said what they had to say. They just said he's just not ready. So usually when you get to the big leagues or the NBA or the NFL, you have your rookie ups and downs, okay, but you're basically ready to go. And then you go from that because you have a pretty good foundation.
Walt, you had something to say?
I agree with everything you're saying because, like I say, when you got a son, you
Walt, you
support
got to
him.
pull your
As
camera down.
long as you
It
support
seems like
your
you
kids, you go.
scooting further and further down in that chair.
I
pull
ain't
your camera
moving
down.
no, I ain't moving no further. But
Oh,
yeah, you gotta support your kids no matter what sports it is.
yeah,
I have 5 kids, 13 grands and 3 great grands, and all of them active, in the sports, But it's like they gotta want to do it, you know.
yeah,
I I,
yep.
I had two granddaughters that cold turkey playing basketball. Went to college and said, I ain't playing no more basketball. I'm gonna do my schoolwork, make my grades, and that's it. But
And
it's
that's
just you gotta support your kids.
yeah, and
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 man, my
and
granddaughters, they was good.
yeah, yeah, they were. You send me videos and stuff and stats on them. They were very talented, very talented, and that was the same situation my son was in. My son's uncle by marriage is Earl Campbell,
Mm,
and Earl Campbell actually got my son a tryout at the University of Texas. But
Right,
mentally, my son wasn't ready, so he didn't go.
right.
And so I equate that to me finding out he had a tryout, going to get my son and taking him to University of Texas, and hey, you gonna do this tryout. That's not his want. That's my want.
No, exactly.
And you cannot force your want on your kids, no matter what it is. And I'm
And
like
that's
you, Jerry. I said this on social media because you got all these guys. Oh man, if you had an opportunity to put your son in the NBA or NFL, you would do it in a heartbeat. No, I wouldn't. As a
mm-mm.
parent, why would I set my son or my daughter up for failure like that, knowing they're not ready for a paycheck? The thing about it is not only are you gonna kill their career because they're not gonna have the confidence to do it, you don't know to what other extent that leads to, bro. That's alcoholism, drug abuse. Um, that stuff really weighs on you mentally when you get to that level and you don't have the support system to get through these things.
I, I
That stuff.
I I agree wholeheartedly, and I got to go soon. But I will
Okay.
say this. I will say this. You are 100% right because that usually happens to most people if they got so much pressure, and you're not ready, you fail. And this is not, they expedite the process. It can be damaging long term. I will say this about Bronny. I've never met Bronny, but I know a lot of people here in the LA area. I have heard nothing but great things about Bronny. I heard he is an incredible kid. He works extremely hard, and he's a kid that obviously wants to continue to do big things, not just on the basketball court, but in life in
In life.
general.
Yeah.
So this is,
That's what
when
I
we're
heard.
talking about this, we're more caring about Bronny and
Yes.
wanting to make sure that he's doing okay. LeBron speaking up, it came from a dad, and you're always going to be dad.
Yeah.
But listen, everybody says Bronny is an incredible, incredible
He
young
is.
man. I keep saying kid.
He is.
He's an incredible young man. Okay.
Yeah.
And he
My
is a
one
man.
of my
He's a
good friends is
professional
his high school
athlete.
coach.
Yeah. So listen, I got to roll. I
Okay.
appreciate you guys having me
Jerry,
on.
we appreciate having you on, buddy.
All
Thank you,
right.
sir.
You
Hey,
guys,
Tim.
great meeting you
Tim,
guys.
I want to be clear here. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Kelvin.
Oh, so I will say this, right, just to be clear. I would never put my son or child in a place where they're not prepared to be, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
like any of my soldiers. I'm not sending my soldiers out on patrols if they're not ready to go out and shoot.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
going to do that
That was a
because they could be
given.
killed,
Yeah. That was
right?
definitely a
But
given.
Two things that I say that this is about, right? It's about preparing your child and supporting your child. And those are the
Yep.
two things that stand out about this entire situation. Is
Yeah,
one,
yeah,
he needs to be prepared to handle this situation on his own. And then two, as dad's gonna support him. One way or the other, but you gotta know where to put that support, right? Is it gonna be beforehand, or is it gonna be in a situation where you walk up on Stephen A. On the sideline and yell at him, and then it
yeah,
being on social media, and here we are talking about it.
yeah. And the thing is, bro, as parents, we try to give our kids the tools as it pertains to life to be as successful as possible. Are all of the lessons and things that we teach our kids are they gonna grasp it all? Probably not. A lot of the lessons that I was taught, I didn't even it didn't come to realization until I got older and could understand why it was told to me that way, or why it was even told to me in general. But I think as parents, we have to entrust how we raised our kids, how the things that we taught them, the preparation that we it bestowed on them for adulthood and to be in this world. Is our kids gonna ever be fully prepared once they leave the house? No. A lot of this stuff is flying by the seat of your pants and figuring it out. But the thing
Yeah.
is, as a parent, you always make your kid feel comfortable. You can come talk to me at any time about anything. And I think once as a parent, once you have settled into, I feel like I raised my kid right, that confidence, having them out in the world, it gets bigger, and you, because as a parent, become more confident that your kid is going to do the right thing. Like I feel with this LeBron situation, I feel an apology coming back on LeBron's behalf, and the only reason why I say that is, even though LeBron has loves the big stage, he loves to save face, and he loves for people to ingratiate and to support him. And I think he got, even on Breakfast Club. Breakfast Club, they didn't go in on him, but they said, "Look, LeBron, you were dead wrong because when everybody looked at Steven's show and what he said, yeah." And what's crazy is everybody that sided with Steve that I saw prefaced it by saying that they're not a fan of Stephen A. I've said I'm not a fan of Stephen A. But when you look at what Stephen
Not.
A. said, when you look at what Stephen A. said, the man did not lie when he talked about uh, Bronny's effectiveness on the court. There was no disrespect. He didn't talk about Bronny being a bad kid, or him doing anything in outside of basketball. It was all strictly basketball. It was all strictly basketball. So the only people that I found that said that really Stephen A. was absolutely wrong, and this is not talking about the parents who say that sticking up for your kid. That's understandable, especially in the heat of the moment. Like you said, you look over and you see somebody that just was on Sports Center blasting your kid. Depending on who you are, you may have that quick fuse. Like, hey, for me, what I would have definitely, I wouldn't have. First of all, I wouldn't have took Markieff Morris over there. Markieff Morris is standing next to LeBron like he's his security, so that looked bad. That 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 made it look like something could jump off between them two, and I'm here to separate you guys. That made it look bad. One.
That's some KU boys.
And then the other thing is all the hand gestures, the facial expressions, and all of that. He could have just went over there and say, "Stephen A, I didn't like what you said, but I'm not going to talk about it now. But we need to have a conversation," and then walked away.
Yeah, but
He
Stephen
could.
A. apologized. He admitted to being wrong.
Well, what Stephen A. A lot of times when it comes to media, in order for them to not close no doors, it is up to you. Even when you feel you're right, just so you don't ruin, because being successful in media is about relationships. And the last thing you want to have being in media and especially basketball media, is to be on LeBron's bad side, which is with as much influence as he has in the game. Like it's not saying that you need to cower to him or take a knee, but it was important. And plus, we say that about LeBron, like, oh, I feel like he's gonna come back and apologize because he wants to save face and he wants people to like him. Stephen A. is the same way. Stephen A. is the same way. Like I said, he puts cologne on shit, and so he started the shit, and him apologizing is the cologne. He's gonna do it again though. So I don't know what kind of value you would put on his apology, but he's gonna do it again. But in his mind, he could say I apologize, even though the apology might have been a backhanded apology. But
Yeah,
I just go ahead, Walt.
but Stephen A. he been known to cause controversy.
Yep. That's but when you look at it, Walt, that's how he got his money. And when you look at it, all of them do it. Charles Barkley
Oh,
does it.
ESPN started on ESPN.
Yeah.
Him wasn't they go back and forth talking about people.
And what's big boy that played with Ray in Boston, won a championship? Perkins.
But
Perkins started doing the same thing.
yeah,
Perkins started doing the same thing because they all figured that if I can make this as much of reality TV as possible, people are going to want to see me. And that's what all this about. It's all about reality TV. Bro, it wouldn't be too far fetched, and I wouldn't put it past anybody that this was staged.
nah, I wouldn't say that.
I'm
I don't
not
know.
saying that
Bron looked like he was unhappy.
I'm not saying that is what it was, but if it ever came out later down the line that it was staged, it wouldn't shock me. With the society that we living in, with the look at me and let me get stuff to go viral. We got that old mentality, Walt. Like we don't think of it like that, but that's the society we live in now.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, I agree.
But
I agree.
um,
But Stephen A. was that way when he was in the newspapers back in Philly, back before he got on TV.
oh yeah,
When I lived
bro,
in Philly, he was on a newspaper there. He was that way.
that's how he climbed the ladder. Is stepping on people's backs. Like
Al
that's how he
Iverson
got to where.
made him.
Yeah, yeah. That's how. When you really look at it, the only real ones is we could talk about Stuart Scott. Stuart Scott was when I say, one of the most honorable sportscaster that still kept it real at all times without having to bash anybody. And if Stuart Scott bashed anybody, he said it in a jokingly way, like, "Oh, I've seen him have better games, but tonight wasn't his night." Stuart Scott wasn't nobody that just went in on somebody. That's why he was so well respected by everybody.
You got two different types of personalities, though.
Exactly.
Completely. Yeah.
But Stuart Scott knew he didn't have to do that to make a name for himself, though. Somebody that's not as talented, that's what people that don't have talent, they
Yeah, but
do other things.
Stephen A. is arrogant, though.
Yeah, he is. Well, you also got to understand, like, he thought that he was it on the basketball court in his day. Like, so what people fail to understand is Stephen A. is vicariously living his hoop dreams now as a sportscaster.
So he played basketball.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He played basketball, but he wasn't good. And so now he's vicariously living his dream through being a basketball sportscaster.
Right.
Which I ain't mad at him. I mean, you where you couldn't be athletically, you got there business wise. And that's a compliment to him. Like, if I can't play the game, I'm definitely gonna be around the game. And we hear the saying all the time, those that can't do, teach. So We are going, man. I appreciate y'all. Kelvin, did you have anything else?
No, man, I'm good. I appreciate it. Appreciate you having me on with these legends.
Man, look, Walt is somebody too, bro. When it comes to Black history, woo! Walt, Walt, Walt is Encyclopedia Brown when it comes to Black. Hey, he'll tell you. I'll call him in a minute. Somebody post something about Black history and I don't know. Walt, look, somebody posted this and they said this happened, this and that. Walt, look, this Walt. No, 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 that ain't how it happened. Let me tell you. And
I love my Black history.
Walt won't take you to that instance of when it happened. Walt gonna take you 20 to 30 years that led up to that.
Yes. But you know,
That's all right,
even
right
though that's
there.
another subject, don't you know they cutting out our Black history type in the military?
Oh
Yeah,
All
yeah.
Black
Kelvin.
history,
Hmm.
all Black history. People that made history that was Black in the military, they are deleting it.
Look, check this out. When you go Google Tuskegee Airmen, and you can even put in Red Tails, look at the picture that comes up. It's five white men.
But
You
that's what I'm
lying?
saying.
Ain't no way
They
in hell.
changed the Black
Bro,
history in the
Google
military.
it. Google it when we get off
Oh,
and watch, bro. Like and
I,
you know
I
what?
done already,
Y'all
I done
stop.
already went through it all.
You did? Y'all stop
Yeah,
stepping on my toes of my next episode too. This is what's coming up. We're
yeah.
talking about the military and Black history. So you two are coming back on. So Walt, uh, get fine tuned. Uh, Kelvin, I will be calling you, but we're gonna also do another episode of this because I think that this kind of translates into real life when it comes to parenting. So we are gonna have we call him Pablo Fields and his
Yeah.
wife Joanne, which is Justin Fields' dad and his mom. We're gonna have them on. I got another couple people on. Um, Fancy, who is Dalen Terry's mom. We're gonna have her on as well to speak on the parenting of professional athletes and is there a line in the sand when it comes to parenting professional athletes. But
Hey,
in
hey, you see,
closing, I want go ahead.
you see what my daughter got her eighth coach of the year.
Yes, that's how many walk.
Eight.
Okay. We got to give flowers to Kim Allen, who is my little sister, Ray Allen's little sister, and obviously
No, no,
Walt.
no.
Walt.
Kim older than Ray.
Oh, that's right. Well, Ray's big sister, my little sister, um, Walt's daughter. Um, we could just go down. I think when you talk about sports, I think Kim may have more accolades than Ray.
Yeah, she had a few. She was the first All American at Benedict.
She was an All American in volleyball and basketball, wasn't she?
I know she was the first All American at Benedict College.
Yeah. Bro, you talking about a talented family. So we want to give Kim Allen her flowers, man. They just got eliminated in the state finals, but she still was awarded her eighth. Count them: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Coach of the Year awards.
Yeah.
And man, I look. I'm expecting in the next couple of years Kim probably being on the sideline of some major school.
Nope. Nope.
She
She
don't want to
make too
do it.
much money for that.
Oh, okay. So it's a love and a hobby for her right now. But I bet you she probably already got people calling her though, because she was a talented player. She's a talented coach, and the relationships that she has with her girls um, translates on the court, and you could see it in how she interacts with her girls. You can tell by how the parents love her, how the girls love her, how the school loves her, how the city ingratiates her. She's just well loved, and rightly so. She is an amazing mom, amazing wife, um, and she is all about family. And she was one of them ones that as soon as I posted about LeBron, she is a LeBron fan, and so in no shorter words or not mixing my words, she said, "Yeah, mess with my kids and see what happens." Hey, hey, her and her little sister Christy. Christy said, "Look, I don't
Yep.
play about my kids." And
Yep.
so we hope Christy never gets a coaching job. We gonna Christy has a fuse, and it ain't long. It ain't long. So, but we appreciate you guys coming on, man. It's all love, and like I said, I appreciate you guys giving us a minute, a second of your time because I understand how valuable it is, especially with gentlemen like yourself and what you have going on. So, once again, love you guys, and I will be in touch when we come to this Black History in the military. You guys will be front and center, and that's coming within the next couple of weeks. So stay tuned. You guys have a
All right.
blessed rest of your weekend, and I love you. Thank you. All
All
All right,
right.
bro. Love you, man. Take care, bro.
right, have a good one.
Take it easy.
To all of our listeners, we want to thank you guys for tuning in. We had some technical difficulties. We typically would have people up on the big screen, but there was something that happened, so we had to get a little ghetto slash thuggish, um, and put the camera up to the screen, the monitor, um, on the desktop. And I hope you guys were able to hear the conversation that we had. And so, like, I appreciate you guys tuning in. Got a lot of people that chimed in, but once again, how we end all shows: love, peace, and soul.